Hey everybody, it's Andy. Welcome back to my weekly show where I help you build a career you love. Today we're going to be talking about the 9 fastest ways to master your craft. Why do the best become the best? You'll learn that and how the best stay the best. And if you don't buy into the fact that you can be the best, that's a discussion for another day. Certainly we can have that argument later, but at least roll with me that we can make you the best you can be. The best you can be. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to teach you a whole bunch of stuff. It'll be very prescriptive. We'll go through a great list. And where I'm coming at you from with this stuff is, I know a lot of you know that I'm a recruiter and a career coach, and I've been doing that a long time. But what some of you might not know, aside from running my own multiple businesses, but I was an executive in a large company, an executive in a small company. I've taken companies public. I've sat on boards of directors, advisory boards, those kinds of things. I speak, I interact with a lot of people, and so I'm coming at you with personal experience, also observations as a recruiter and coaching a lot of people and working with a lot of companies. And also, this is Andy, we're going at this with science and data, and all that stuff is packed in here to how we chose these 9 things. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get right into it because we have a ton to talk about. Now, it's kind of list style, and I've got a number of stories along the way, but everything, and I know a lot of you that have been following me for a long time, you know that a lot of the stuff that I preach, because it works, is before you start anything, you got to get your mind dialed correctly. So one of the first things that I want to talk a little bit about is before you do anything, and the best of the best always have the right attitude. They always have the right attitude. But here's something interesting about attitude, because I want to give you my own, personal spin on this. Right? Positivity is great. And we all love that. But, I did a show a couple years ago. It was one of my shows, and it was a podcast. It was audio, not video. And in the show, I was talking about attitude. And one of the things that I said about attitude is that optimism is something that you manufacture from your attitude, but inspiration is something someone else manufactures from your optimism. Think about the way these are connected. Optimism is something that you manufacture from your attitude, and inspiration is something someone else manufactures from your optimism. You know what? I like to think, or you might think, I know a lot of you guys show up week in and week out. I see you in the chat. I love it. And you might think that you show up each week because I teach you some good stuff and you learn the tools and you get some nifty downloads and those kind of things. But I suspect, and I say this humbly, but I suspect that the real reason you show up, or keep showing up, I should say, is because after we get done with these sessions, after you get done watching the videos and reading the posts and listening to the podcast or whatever it is that you do, that you feel more inspired and more confident to go out and try things that you might not have tried, or something you might not have tried, or to the extent you might not have tried it, or even if it was something you were going to try anyway. Are you not more charged up and more confident in the way in which you do that, and you get more aggressive in a good way with it? I know that to be the case. All you need to do is look at the comments on the YouTube channel, look at the emails you send me. The theme over and over again is how you feel more confident. Any dumpy coach can teach you the steps. Anybody can do that. The best coaches will inspire you to do things that you might not otherwise think that you can do. And the reason I'm making such a big deal about this is I need you to do this for yourself. You need to think about the way attitude and optimism and being in motion and the momentum that you will accumulate as a self-fulfilling machine as you do this by yourself. And there's nothing wrong with getting inspiration from others, but I want to make sure that internally you are dialed in, and that's a big point. So that's something that you got to do right up front. Second thing that the best way to get to be a master at your craft, the best become the best, is determining the right capabilities. Let's talk about this. I have spoken a lot about capabilities, but let's make sure we define them if this is the first time you're catching something like this. I talk about skills, we talk about capabilities. Skills, in my opinion, are something very specific. the mechanic who knows how to put together this particular car's engine, the project manager who knows how to sell an information technology project, the salesperson who knows how to sell this particular software product. There's specificity in it. There is particular product knowledge. Those are skills. You can learn those on the job. Everybody's got the how-to manual. But what do the best do? They focus on the capabilities that will transcend the specificities. So they think about the underlying foundational abilities and traits that they will grow, become obsessed with growing. So think about the project managers, for example. Anybody can go to the Project Management Institute, take the PMP certification training and get the certification. That's the how-to manual. They all know how to do that, all the basic blocking and tackling stuff. But the best, they know how to communicate with their customers. They know how to listen. They know how to manage their team, plan the resources, manage the risks, and so on. All of these things, the leadership skills, all of these things will transcend whatever type of project that they're managing, whether it's a commercial real estate project, whether it's a technology project, whether it's a business process reengineering project, or whatever. They become obsessed with the right capabilities. So you got to identify what those are. Once you do that, then what do you got to do? Number 3. You gotta find the right teachers, the right coaches, the people that will make you the best at all of those individual capabilities. So what are we talking about here? Well, you got the salesperson. They need to know how to sell, selling tactics. They need to know how to communicate, the psychology and human psychology and interaction behind it, the organizational skills, and so on. Leaders, those sales tactics, that's some gal out there. She's a guru with that. You want to talk about organization? That's another guy, right? Communication, that's somebody else. Psychology, that's somebody else. So that's a lot of different people. Now, if you want to master your craft, you might have a mentor that's pretty good and influential in your life, but one person's not going to bring you to the promised land. Nobody will. It takes an entire village to do that. So what I recommend that you do is, as you are researching these teachers, what I really want you to do is put together a FRANKEN mentor. So it takes like 7-8 people to bring all this together for me. But you build a FRANKEN mentor, and it takes a little bit of time, and sometimes you trade out body parts and you find somebody new, but you keep looking. What do these guys and gals do? They speak, they got podcasts, they got blogs, they got YouTube channels, they got books. Soak it up, read them. You can, if you like their training, you engage in training. Speaking of training, to give you an idea of all of these FRANKEN mentors that I have, and I read, I watch, probably like a lot of you do with me. You get engaged, get familiar with my work. But over the last year, I've probably taken 250 hours. I log it when I go into the training programs. I know how long the videos are, how much time I'm spending, because I want to get an idea of what I'm putting into my personal development. But 250 hours, think about what that is. You break that down into an 8-hour day, that's like 30 days. It's like a month and a half extra time. So if you want to grow those skills, you're going to have to find the right teachers. And then when you do find the right teachers and you take their training and you read their books and all that good stuff, you got to practice the right things the right way, and you got to do it with something that I like to call progressive mastery. So let's just think about the wake of what we were just talking about here. You got you got your attitude dialed in. You got the capabilities that you know you need to grow. You've developed the right teachers and support structure around you. Maybe you're taking some training and you're learning, but now you have to get into the practice mode. So you have to be careful of what you practice, because you can make anything permanent with enough practice. So you want to be very, very careful about what that is. So we're talking about making sure that you're identifying the right things to practice, and then always thinking next level. I'm not talking about being impatient. I'm talking about get to a level, get proficient, but always think, what can I do to improve it? So when I wanted to transition from a recruiter and a coach who was doing a lot of stuff one-on-one and in person and through the telephone, and my goal, what drives me, is that I want to help more people. In order to help more people, I had to find mediums where I could share my message that way. Now, and I was writing a blog. It was already a fairly popular blog, but that only reached so many people. Not everybody's on the looking for blogs. They want YouTube channels and other stuff. So I had to go out and get a video camera so that I could actually learn how to communicate with you. And I know I always say talking to the camera, but really it's talking through the camera as a vehicle to reach you. Well, the first thing that I needed to do was I needed to figure out, how do I get comfortable, looking at the camera, so I'm actually talking with you. Secondly, I got to make sure that I remember everything I need to share with you. That's kind of step one. And there's, quality of the camera, there's knobs and stuff and things I don't really understand. And, you kind of get that down. And then it's, okay, well, how can I do this and make sure I'm not losing my train of thought? And then the next step is, okay, how can I make it even more engaging? How can I make it more entertaining? How can I make it more inspirational? And so on. Each one of these requires another layer of progressive mastery. The best, and mastering your craft requires you to be in a perpetual state of this. It's not about never being satisfied. As a matter of fact, I actually don't want you to be satisfied. I want you to be happy and thirst for getting better in a progressive manner. Very, very important. And then, kind of along the lines of the video camera, but you got to have the right tools. Now, tools is a funny thing. So for me, camera was a tool. And the guy who comes to fix my house, and he backs up his truck, he lays out all his tools in the garage, they all look fancy and shiny to me, and he works pretty fast, and that's pretty cool. For you, the tool could be anything. It might be a training program. It might be a physical thing that you need to do a better job. Whatever it might be, it could be a monthly subscription. I subscribe to different trainers that are coaches that I like their material, and I go each month to their training programs. That's a tool for me, just a different tool. Once I got comfortable shooting this stuff in my office, what about when I'm on the road and I want to send you a message, or I want to create a quick video? I buy a little microphone so the sound quality is better. All this stuff goes to progressive mastery. You always want to be thinking about what is the next level from a tools perspective. Here's another one. This is a kind of a two-parter. You got to surround yourself with the right people, and you also need to stay in motion to build and expand your network, and being in a constant state of expansion and maintenance of it, right? You want to maintain the relationships once you start building them. So let's talk about this. That expression, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with. That's pretty true. That's pretty true. So the people that you do spend a lot of time with, you want to make sure that they are supportive. And I want to draw a clear distinction of what I mean by supportive. I surround myself with people. My dad is, he's one of them. I have friends and business colleagues and so on. They don't need to think your dreams make sense. And as a matter of fact, if they think your dreams make sense, you're probably not dreaming big enough. My dad doesn't think I should do this. He likes that I help people, but he thinks I ought to go off and be a CEO of a company. And that's great. But he doesn't try to talk me out of doing this. He says, okay, well, that's your dream and I'm going to support it. And what can I do to help you? And that's great. And he follows along. And that's what I'm talking about. You just need to make sure that you are not going to be hanging around with discouraging people or people that tell you you can't. Because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. And then the other thing is you want to make sure that you are constantly opening yourself up to meeting new people and learning new perspectives and hearing new ideas and all that good stuff. Because what I think a lot of people do is they kind of get comfortable, right? We're all very scarce on time. Networking, events, meeting people, having lunches, cocktails, all that other good stuff. That takes time. So you want to make sure that you are constantly doing that. And as a little tack onto that, as you meet people, help them grow their network too. So that's incredibly, incredibly important. Now, one other thing about people, and I want to draw a clear distinction here, is I want you to surround yourself with the right people. And I want you to have a good support structure. It's very important, even if you have to get that online. Okay, so wherever you get it, that's okay. But you have to listen to the right people. Now, this is different. This is different than your support structure, right? Your support structure is the stuff you live with every day. The listening for mastery of your craft and getting better is different. So I want to be really clear about what we're talking about here. So who are the people that you should listen to get better at your craft? Nobody, and I mean nobody, will make you better at what you do and pull you forward more than your customers. And your customers, you might be in sales, that's great. Your customers might be your company's customers. Your customers might be internal teams. They could be your teammates. They could be internal business units you're supporting. It could be your community. You may be a paid enrollee of the Mile Walk Academy, or you might just be somebody that comes to my live office hours. You are my community. You are my customers. You will make me better. You will make me better. There will never be greater opportunities for you to succeed than the sounds of other people's pains. Your best opportunities will lie in the sounds of other people's complaints. You solve their problem, you're their hero. Remember that. Who should you not be listening to? Your competition. Now, there's a lot of philosophies. You got to be paying attention to what your competition is doing, but there's competition in a sense of companies competing, individuals competing, and those kinds of things. But if you are paying attention to others doing what it is you want to do, you likely will be in relativity mode the entire time. You'll create what they create. You'll look like they look. You'll look like they look. It's not a great spot. All you need to focus on is being better than you were yesterday. And if you keep doing that and you keep outdoing yourself every day, trust me, no one will ever catch you. Let me tell you a story. Relates to you and me. I was just debating probably up until, 17 minutes ago, whether I was going to tell you the story, but I want to tell it because I think it's kind of funny and you can laugh at me. So let's say about 2.5 years ago, give or take, I decided that I was going to go into the this type of modality for you to communicate with you and give you advice. So I wanted to shoot a video, and I didn't really know anything about shooting a video. I didn't really know anything about cameras. I was using my Mac Thunderbolt I thing, and I bought a microphone, and so I go to my office and I shoot this thing, and I was concerned, should I practice more, all that good stuff. And I got to this decision point, and I said, well, I can keep waiting until I'm better and perfect, or I could just shoot the message for these guys, get it out there and help them. So let me see, I got to choose between serving people and maybe not looking so cool, or my ego, and you won. So I get in front of the camera, and all I thought about was, what's one of the biggest problems that people ask me about? So I decided I would shoot a video on that. I shot a video, had no YouTube followers, shot the video went out, right? No YouTube authority and all this other stuff that they talk about, and the video took off. I have no idea how. I didn't do anything in the video. I just put the video up and I circulated it on social media. I was like, God, that's awesome. Next week, did something again. Thing took off. Didn't really think about it. Third week rolls around, shooting from the heart. This is what I think they're having problems with. Put the video out, video takes off. And when I say take off, I'm talking like these things have 3,000 and 5,000 more views than the videos I'm releasing last week. It just happened. I have no idea how. So this goes on for about 6 months. My YouTube channel starts to climb. Wonderful. I'm helping more people. They're finding me. They're getting my message. By the way, I was not selling anything. This is all just giving knowledge out. So where's my Progressive Mastery card? So Mr. Progressive Mastery here says, well, God, if I could do this, and I'm a hack, I don't even know what I'm doing, I should go get some training and really try to reach more people. So I find this young lady who's, got a great YouTube channel. She's got tons of YouTube followers. She's selling a YouTube package, learn how to do YouTube and expand your channel. So I go pay the $1,000. I take the training. I'm going through the training, and one of the big things that she says that I should do is look at channels that are like mine, competition you could call them, or other related channels or whatever they are, and look at what their videos are doing and where they're scoring high and what videos are really ranking high for them, and then you should shoot that same stuff. And if you want to figure out how to title it, you use these search engine tools and you index it this way, and this will give the search engine blah, blah. I'm thinking you are sucking the romance out of what I do, right? I come from it at the heart. These are people's problems. I talk, I teach the way I think they need to hear it, and so on, and out it goes. But she's the guru, so I do it her way. And I watched the growth of my YouTube channel, which at that time probably was about 5,000 new customers or subscribers a month, drop from that number to 1,000. I lost basically 80% subscription. And I'm not a number hawk for things like that, but my goal is to reach more people and help more people, and that's going in the wrong way really fast. So what do? I think, all right, I got to switch my strategy back. But I don't want to just switch it back to what I was doing before. I'm smarter now. So progressive mastery kicks in, and I say, your greatest opportunities lie in the sounds of other people's complaints or issues. Solve them. I know what you should be going through, but I don't want to rely on my interpretation of that. And heaven forbid, I don't want to send you a survey. So I'm like, why don't I just throw a party every week on my YouTube channel at 11 o'clock Central on Thursday? They could come, I could teach them, and then I could just take a bunch of their questions. I could answer it. I could watch myself answer it. I could listen to how I'm responding. I could give them more information in future episodes, and I'll get more knowledgeable about what they need, better at responding and answering their questions, and so on. That's where we are today. So, who do you listen to? Not your competition. It's just an example, but it's real life. And now the YouTube channel starts to climb again, and we've got more subscribers at a faster pace, and so on. So, but I had to go through that learning lesson. But you gotta listen to your heart. You gotta listen to your heart, especially here on Valentine's Day. Where am I at? All right, we were listening to the right people. Okay, here's another one. This is a big deal because it talks about happiness. They look at the right success metrics. What do I mean? We are human, and most of our suffering and unhappiness comes from the fact that our perspectives are so out of whack. You can't even believe it. Perspective is out of whack, and you're using the wrong metric to measure your success in life, with your spouse, with your kids, with your business, with your paycheck, with whatever it is. So let's get specific. A couple of examples here. One is a corporate example. Companies do this to employees, but you'll get the analogy. We do a lot of work, recruitment work with salespeople. One of the hardest things for a salesperson to do is start a new job. You start a new job, you start with zero. You come in, you don't have any clients or accounts, you don't have any customers, you got to learn the product or the new company's product, whatever it is, you start kind of in a hole. And companies do things like, well, your quota, because every salesperson's quota on in the company is $1 million in the first year. So when we work with our companies, we say to them, hey, that's kind of hard. You start from cold, your product is complex, and what your success metric is how many dollars they're selling, right? Like you would think, okay, well, they're a salesperson, they should be measured on how much they can sell. That's right, except you're going to deflate them and just smash up their head because they're going to think they suck when it takes them 6 months to make a sale. So if you actually looked at the way they break down their day, the way they break down their week and their month, how many outreaches a day are they doing? How many meetings are they getting? How many opportunities to answer a proposal or whatever it is that they're doing do they have? How many customers did they actually secure? Not dollars, but did they get a new customer that is now your company's customer? If you are measuring those things, those are the right behaviors, and those should be the success metrics of the salesperson in the early months. And if you do that, and if you're looking at their progress, or you're a salesperson and you are looking at whether you are doing the right things, if you do what I just said, you should be watching, and you counted that as being successful, you will ultimately make that $1 million in revenue and beyond, and far beyond, because it takes a little upfront time. So let's go back to the YouTube analogy I was using. So a little time goes by with the YouTube channel, and I start offering you opportunities to enroll in paid training, which I had never done before. I was always gifting out these shows and these videos, and you could have the free downloads, but I never actually sold you anything. But now it came time for me to turn this into a business, and so I spent 4 months training on how to put the product together, shooting all these darn videos, building the booklets, all that great stuff. I had to figure out how to market it. I had to figure out how to attract a bigger community and prospective enrollees. I put the product out. The product goes out. So it's $100, and here it goes. And I had a deadline because somebody told me I had to have a deadline, otherwise nobody buys anything. So made the deadline, and we looked at the results. And I looked at the results, and 50 people bought it. Now, 50 people bought it. It was $5,000 in revenue. And I just spent 4 months. Actually, I spent a lot more than that. But I spent 4 months working, investing time, investing money, buying tools, and doing all this stuff. And if I would have just looked at the $5,000, you and we wouldn't be doing this right now, because that's what makes you throw in the towel when your success metric is screwed. But I didn't do that. Actually, I did that for a second. But I got myself together and I said, no, you got into this to help people. And you wanted to help more people. And that's 50 people that enrolled in your stuff today. And then that gave me the juice I needed to come back the next day and build more and more. And then 50 becomes 100. And then 100 becomes 2. And 2 becomes 5. And so on. But you have to stay dialed in. Whatever your metric is, you need to make sure that it probably is a little more stepping stone metric than it is the ultimate. For those salespeople I was talking about, it's, are you getting the script down? Are you getting the connections with people? For your job search, we did a 14-day challenge last month and the month before. What was it about? How many people could you identify? How many target companies could you identify? How many people, could you identify one, and could you make a send out to, a cover letter, connection, whatever it is, to each one? It didn't. The goal wasn't to get the job. The fallout will be to get the job. But your success metrics, this is what will keep you going. This is what will keep your attitude in order and your optimism there. And that's what will help make good things happen for you, because you stay in the right motion. Think about that for you guys, because I know a lot of you guys, you're looking, right, for your job, or you're looking to grow your career. So just make sure, a lot of you guys, I coach you, you're pissed because you're not the CIO in 2 years, and that's when you start having metrics like that, you're going to be unhappy for a long time. Okay, I saved this one for last. I love this one, and it's one I don't think anybody thinks about it. Number 9. I don't know that I've been numbering these along the way, but these are 9. They reflect the right way. I shot a whole video on this, by the way. If I can remember, I'll put it in the card. But they reflect the right way. What do I mean? Okay, so I don't care how successful you are. I don't care what you do. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how many people know your name. It makes no difference. Where do we all spend our time? 10 minutes in front of right now. Well, hopefully you're right here with me. I'm right here with you. But most of us, we're 10 minutes in front. Heaven forbid, we're 5 years in front. That's where a lot of people live. That's where a lot of people worry. But what we don't often do is we don't often stop and then look back. I'm not talking about like living in the past. I'm talking about actually taking a moment to positively reflect and say, what happened? What actually happened? Let's take stock of what happened. Now, I reflect daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually. The video I just mentioned about reflecting your way to success, that's the name of it, I think. And there's an annual reflection guide. You could use it on a daily basis. It's an awesome tool. It's in the description. You should grab it. But it's a great way to think about what happened. And if you take a moment to think about what happened, so at the end of last year in December, we did a live show, and I was telling you and thanking you guys for showing up, and I did not realize, did not realize I'd given you over 100 videos. We did 48 live office hour shows. We did a dozen live specials. I did 6 boot camps, and so on and so forth, and I didn't realize that. And when I reflected and I looked back at what I had done, because it's nearly impossible to see the magnitude as you go through your day, even though I'm reflecting each day. Today I'm going to reflect and I'm going to say, damn, that live office hours was fun, right? I'm going to do that before I go on my date, with my Valentine's Day with my wife. But like, that's what I think, except I don't realize how many of these we've done in the past X months, in the past year. So when you stop and you see, and then you have to take it one step further. So it's one thing to look at what you accomplished, how much you earned, or whatever. But what I did was I thought about, well, how many people was that I was able to reach? Not how many shows that I do. Like, I needed to kind of know that. But it was really about, I don't know, so a whole bunch of people show up every week. A whole bunch of, people sign up for these things. That's a lot of people that I help. When I thought about the real magnitude that had, I woke up damn charged the next day. And your motion, right? Motion breeds momentum, breeds optimism, and so on. That's why it's important to reflect. But too many of us, we don't take a moment Is it worth 2 minutes at the end of your day to kind of run through and say, what the hell happened? Is it worth 5 minutes at the end of the week saying, okay, what did we do? What do we need to improve? That looked pretty good. Yeah, that was awesome. Maybe we could build on that. Like, it's worth it. Your sanity's worth it. Your sanity's worth it. So make sure that you are, where'd that go? You are reflecting and you're taking time to reflect. This, I want to end it on this little note and give you this little perspective. When I did that reflection, it was a damn good thing that I was in this office by myself, because if any of you were standing next to me, you would have been lit up in smoke, in flames. Because I actually think that you should have one thing in your life you are so passionate about that you could set the person standing next to you on fire, literally on fire. And that's what this is for me. You have this in you. It is somewhere. You got to find it and live it. And if you do this stuff, believe me, not only will you reach greater heights, but you're going to have a hell of a lot better time going through your life and your career and your hobbies and whatever it is that you do. So I hope that serves you. I hope you like that. How was that? 31 minutes. I told Kara it was going to be a half an hour. So that's pretty close. I never time these things, by the way. But if you like it, click the little thumbs up thing. We're going to go to the chat, but I got a couple of announcements and a little demo here that I want to do for you guys. So if you're watching this on the recording, I'll see you next week.